volatility in the market has not gone anywhere. Right now, when you do look at the market, you see that the market is directly giving you some signals. Just drawing a couple of parallel lines, horizontal lines here, gives you an idea of what the price is doing with respect to their own RSI. That kind of takes you through a lot, and especially when you come on looking at XRP, this is what you actually see. That's a great thing to watch as the price comes down, because last time around when you were dropping, you saw this in the RSI. At this time, compared to the price action, you're not watching that. Here, the price broke to the downside. As of now, you're still way above that. You're literally having a huge hidden bullish divergence on XRP macro chart. As we dive deep into the land of candlesticks, we're going to get a lot of different information from the market. We're going to see a lot of different things evolving in the market. But before that, I appreciate you guys smashing that like button for me. Now, yes, it is true. The market is showing different structure for different assets. Some of them are turning bullish. Some of them are turning a little bit of red flag. Agreed. But that's one of the reasons why I say if you have time, come look at the Patreon. That's going to give you a ton of value. Now, if you are looking at the market right now, this is what Bitcoin shows you. Is there a lot of crazy stuff happening? Yeah, for sure. There is a lot. Especially when you are zooming out on a macro chart and looking at what's happening, right? You're looking at this particular phase where the price action shows you this was one bottom, and this is another one, but we don't have a confirmation that it is going to bounce or stay here, creating another bottom. Right now, it seems the RSI has been oversold. It's going down, down, down compared to this point. So when you do look at the market, you're watching a lot of these assets are turning down, running down, and people are getting scared. Because, if you are looking at the price action, it kind of shows you last couple of days there was no much momentum alive and it dropped. But when you do zoom out and look at these assets, you're like, okay, there is a trend line formation, and each time you're coming down, you're dropping heavily into the trend line, whether that's a 30% drop, whether that's a 25% drop. You're watching that happening every now and then. So the market is going to do this rinse and repeat, kicking all those highly levered people out. That's one of the primary reasons why I say understand what you're dealing with, especially when you look at the RSI and the price action for XRP. It is kind of in that territory where it shows like, okay, there is a lot of market being flushed. And last time when this happened, you literally had this, right? The price went way lower. And one of the primary reasons there can be the SEC issue. For sure, agreed. That fact is still there. But the price actually made this and the price went back up. As of now, you are kind of getting really, really close to something like that. You're not actually getting that panic sell-off all the way back down here. You're still above this. So someone is interested in buying this asset in this price point, in this price range, which has acted previous resistance, which has acted as a previous resistance, right now looking as a support, trying to find some support. But the issue is when you go into the market and you look at the total altcoin market, people are watching, there is a doji formation on the daily. You are seeing a lot of volatility to the upside, to the downside. It's kind of a little bit panic here and there, for sure. You're watching the volume, which is still coming in hot on negative side, not on the positive side. The is kind of playing out with people's emotion. But then you actually see that the price and RSI is kind of playing again, right? The volatility is still there and it's making a lot of noise in the market. So unless you zoom out to look at where we are, to understand the fact that we are in a reaccumulation phase, which we have seen in many assets, including the SIA here. You had the accumulation, you broke that to the upside, you literally created the reaccumulation phase, and then you started the markup. So once you understand what the market is doing, which area big guys are accumulating, and when it breaks higher from that level, that's when you understand, okay, market is going higher. We talked about the possibility of dollar going down, and right now, when you're on a daily chart for DXY, in this index, it is kind of clear like, okay, there is a lot of strength coming back in to push the price down. Now, is it confirmed? Are you breaking down? It is breaking down, but you didn't actually get a daily close like that. At one point, yes, it did feel like you're breaking to the downside. The price was here, but you got to push back to the upside. So it shows you there is a trend line, micro trend line, which is pushing the price back up. Now, on the same notation, you go down onto the crypto market, which is kind of literally reacting with how the macro market is moving. And then you look at this. There is two candlesticks in front of us, which is of primary importance, I would argue. One shows you a hammer, a bullish hammer, which actually popped up here with green volume on a daily. So I'm like, okay, that's really good. Next one is important to notice. You got almost substantial amount of volume in red, but you did not drop to the downside. Rather, you stayed there. And inside that candle, you got bulls pushing the price up all the way till 40,700. That's a great range because it has been acting as a support previously. So this makes that retest. So you need to see this breaking to the upside, invalidating these previous support as a resistance. But now, if you do get the daily close in next 3 hours, this is going to be something of importance. If you manage to close it above this range, it's a huge positive news. If you go back down towards 38,600 and close there, that's like, okay, we got one more leg down. It's going to flush a lot of different retailers. So that being said, when you do take a zoom out view and say, okay, this is the previous resistance now acting as a support, it does make some sense because when you are on a weekly chart and you are looking at the price action, you can actually put the argument that last time we played out here, we did get some resistance, right? And when you extend that range, you get to see, okay, that does seem like a resistance. So previously, yes, it was a strong supply and demand zone for this asset. Right now, when you come back down, that should act as a support. That's kind of the basic sense here. So when you do take that into a line chart, say let's remove all these drawings and look at it, you can kind of put that argument here. Okay, last time we played in this area a lot of times saying that's a clear resistance. So this time around, when you're coming to that range, expect that to be a support. Remember, I was talking about the possibility of moving average running higher because the price is still above the moving average, and the price and moving average meeting at some point like here, 39,000, 38,300. That was a support zone. We're still above that, maintaining that level. You're watching that the RSI is going back down. You have to keep in mind the difference of that bottom in price is 25 to right now close to 40,000. The RSI is showing you much harder cool down. A lot of sellers are trying to push the price down, or at least they are leaving the market. But the price is not going down. So yes, sellers are there, they are dropping more supply into the market. Who is absorbing all this? Or at least majority of that. That's one of the reasons why you are watching there's a lot of strength increase in terms of selling, but the price is not dropping much. Because when you come back down into this territory, you understand the fact that, okay, that seems like it is acting as a strong range where people are considering it as supply and demand zone, just like this. You had this volatility, you went up, fine. When you came back down next time, cool, that acted as a support, you went back up. Now, yes, you retested that because that range, I would argue, was a time when all of them knew, the big guys knew the ETF is going to come out. They were accumulating in this range. They pushed the price up and these big guys got the ETF out. But at that time, it's the retail. At that point, Someone is selling because the price is not coming down. If everyone is buying, someone was selling. Who would have sold those who accumulated in this price point. So you kind of have a market where things are kind of a little bit noisy, but as soon as you start stepping back on a monthly, on a weekly, you kind of get to see the macro picture. That's one of the primary reasons why I always reiterate, understand the basics, understand the short term, medium term for sure, but also keep your eyes focused on what these macro charts show you, because that's when you kind of get to understand, okay, volatility is going to be a part of this journey. There is no way around it. But when you do look at the chart and say like, okay, there is a lot of assets getting flushed on one side and Bitcoin is still here. So the market is kind of still arguing with the fact that the previous resistance is now a support. There is no difference. So getting us back above 43, 44 is going to be a golden range, because that range was acting as a literally short-term distribution here. But you want to make sure on a macro, it is not a macro distribution. If you do get the price going back in, this is going to be something we want to see. But if at that time you are watching this kind of a move in the weekly RSI, that may not be something we really want to see. This is just visualizing what if the price go back up, but the RSI slows down here. That's going to be a negative scenario for Bitcoin, slowing down at this range. Now, what does that mean on a monthly chart? Imagine the price is going up and it's slowing down here. So as soon as you zoom out, you're starting to watch a macro double top possibility, which would then literally push the Bitcoin price all the way down to that $1,000 mark, maybe $500 mark, who knows? But keep this in mind, this trend line which we are plotting here starts at $100. The first primary support is close to 1,200. That's a long way down. It's going to boil down a lot of financial institutions. It's going to be a breakthrough time. But think about all of this in another way. We all understand that the debt in the system is so high. It's going to break down at one point. No one knows when. But always, all the time, governments and central banks, usually they don't take the blame. They put the blame on someone else. What if crypto is going to be that scapegoat this time around? They'll put the name, see, it's crypto doing this. We'll go to a CBDC, boom, no private cryptocurrencies. We'll go to the central bank digital currencies. We control it. There is nothing wrong about it. That is going to be something to watch out for. And that means while Bitcoin do this upside movement, those who are right now involved in the altcoin market should consider taking their profits and getting out. Now, how long is this scenario going to take? I don't know. Literally, I strongly believe no one knows that. But as soon as you see this accumulation phase breaking to the upside, that is going to be a huge signal for you. Okay, this phase is done. We are entering into this phase. And one of the primary things you need to keep in mind is as soon as you start that, you don't have a long time. People are talking about the end of 2024. People are talking about the end of 2025. Now I'm like, maybe, but keep this in mind. If they are to roll the central bank digital currencies end of this year, early next year, they want people to jump onto that. So if people are on private cryptocurrencies, bureaucrats, politicians, they don't like it. They would most likely push the entire market to the downside just to flush it. So one of the possibility here is that it is going to push higher, 90 days, 100 days, whatever. But as soon as you see a huge divergence forming on the weekly, on the monthly, understand the price is reaching that level. Especially if you do watch that the monthly RSI is reaching here. That's where you want to run out. We'll be here updating on a daily basis what's happening in the market so that you guys don't make a mistake. We'll try to give you the best information in the market. And if you want to break down on all of these different assets, then you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So guys, if you haven't smashed that like button yet, consider doing that. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.